Hi, it's day 13 of the FIFA 26 World Cup, and this podcast is going to be all about England as they're back in action today after an emphatic and thrilling 4-2 win over Croatia, got England off to a great start in their World Cup campaign. That win now puts them in a very strong position to go on and win the group and makes them all but certain to qualify for the round of 32. Here I'm going to look back at each player's performance in the Croatia game and what pluses and minuses this tells us that might be relevant to England as they progress in this tournament and in relevance to today's game against Ghana. So let's have a look back player per player against Croatia. Jordan Pickford. Pickford was required to make a number of saves in this game and made the ones we would expect him to make and nearly pulled off a worldie to prevent Croatia's opening goal of the game. This was a pretty typical Pickford performance. He looked overamped, having had to wait a week to play the first game, and was not the calm presence you normally like your keeper to be. But that's Pickford all over. I also felt he punched a cross or two that could have been caught, which again were probably due to over exuberance. It was a bit like a caged tiger that had been let out. Pickford is what he is, a very, very good goalkeeper who sometimes struggles to keep calm when you would like him to, but he's not going to change at this stage of his career and will continue to serve England very well. Right back, Reece James. James had a solid enough game at right back and moved into central midfield late in the game. He did not get forward as much as I would have liked and is not one to press tight to attackers. When he moves into midfield, that lack of getting tight to opponents can give the opposition playmakers that bit of time to pick passes out. Solid as a right back and will do well in midfield against lesser teams, but I'm not sure I want him in midfield against the best teams in this competition, as he doesn't really appear to have the legs to do the work required to close down effectively. Right centre half was Ezri Konsa. Konsa had a very nervy first half but gradually grew into the game. His early nerves can be forgiven in the first game of the competition, but if England are to be strong defensively against the best teams, the centre backs will need to improve on this showing, and that includes Konsa if he is to retain his starting position. And started alongside him was John Stones. Stones looked like a player who had not played much this season, was very rusty early on, and like Konsa improved as the game went on. But I have a big concern with him playing left side of a centre back pairing, and I think it unbalances the whole team. He has played right side of a centre back pairing throughout his career. When England were trying to play out from the back, which has been a big strength for Stones, that extra half a second or second he took to get the ball where he wanted often led to him being pressed into a rush pass or a bad pass. That particularly affected England's ability to get out down the left side and made them less of a threat on that side of the field. I really think Konsa or Stones plays the right centre back position, and neither is best suited to the left back role. Mark Gahey is a very good defender and plays well on the ball, so I see no reason why he does not play on the left side, which he is much better suited to, and one of Stones and Konsa partners him. I fear that extra bit of time Stones needs to play out from the back from the left side could come back to haunt England at some point. At left back was Nico O'Reilly. Like Konsa, started nervously but grew into the game. Not really challenged defensively down his side, but partly due to the issues Reece Stones playing out from the back down the left. O'Reilly did not get much opportunity to be a forward-looking threat in this game. He did show he can be a threat in the opposition box on set pieces, though, and that is going to be more than useful in this tournament. I think the left side of England's attack, and that includes O'Reilly as an attacking weapon, would be much better suited with Gahey at left centre back. Noni Madueke started on the right side of midfield, or right wing if you like, played very well and was a real threat throughout, won the penalty in the first half. Pace and endeavour never took a second thought about attacking his fullback and made a great diversion run to an Bellingham to go one-on-one for his goal. Benefited from England being much more fluent down the right than the left. In the centre of midfield, Elliot Anderson, one of the big tournament new guys that did not wilt under the pressure. Another rock solid midfield performance from a player that just seems to keep on improving. He might need to help to protect what currently looks like a fragile centre back pairing though, so he may need to be more focused on the defensive side going forward. Alongside him, Declan Rice. Rice left the game in the second half and looks to be struggling with possibly multiple injuries, but certainly one that he's nursing after a rigorous season with Arsenal. Even if he is not, he looked a bit tired and leggy in this game. As a result, he was not the dominant force he usually is, and England needed him to be later in this tournament. But his set-piece delivery was still exceptional. Regardless of any injuries, England may be wise to give him some rest in the next couple of games with the long game in mind, like they are with Bukayo Saka. On the left side of midfield was Anthony Gordon, or left wing if you like. Gordon continually made good runs in the first half, but rarely received the required passes for them to be utilised. This was again partly down to England's struggles developing play down that side of the field, but was not really Gordon's fault. If England can sort the issues with playing out from the back down that side, Gordon will shine on the evidence of this performance. Right, Jude Bellingham played in the 10 position and played well and was another that got much better as this game progressed. I still don't think he's at peak form yet though, but he is getting there and his ability to come on strong in the second half could be really important in this tournament. If he does continue to get back to his best, that's great news for England in an attacking sense, as demonstrated by his goal against the Croatians. Harry Kane up front, another superb performance from Kane, who is now not just a truly world-class player, he has developed into an inspirational leader. Those qualities are what World Cup winning teams must have, so another tremendously positive indicator here. Showed great bottle to dispatch a retaken penalty and made no mistake when gifted a free header for his second. Let's have a look at the subs, who were Jed Spence, Mark Gahey, Bukayo Saka, Morgan Rogers and Marcus Rashford. All 5 subs added late quality off the bench, and in a tournament where that is going to be vital as teams tire, that's another piece of great news for England. That quality of squad depth also gives manager Thomas Tuchel the option to rotate without the side suffering particularly badly. Jed Spence showed great pace and very nearly nicked a goal as a result. And with England on top late in this game, his defending was never really tested. Gahey, for me, as I said earlier, seems the obvious answer to that imbalance in England's defence and in general play, and for me should start the next game. Saka showed his quality and played a key part and got the assist for Marcus Rashford's goal late on with a very well picked out switch of play. Morgan Rogers did not get much opportunity to shine, but the best thing you can say is that England did not see as noticeable drop-offs for him replacing Bellingham. Rashford is a great option off the bench as his pace and energy against tiring defenders is the last thing they want to face. Adding his quality as a goalscorer and whether he starts or finishes his game for England showed here what a great asset he is to have. Now that's the players, but let's have a look at Thomas Tuchel and Anthony Barry, the assistant manager. Barry's halftime TV interview showed the mentality of the coaching team as they will not tolerate England playing with a handbrake on. And from the players' post-match comments, manager Thomas Tuchel communicated this in a brilliant way. With all the talent available to England, these two are seemingly not going to allow any negativity to prevent that talent from shining. This is a great message to send to these players and is definitely going to need to be maintained in the latter rounds if England get that far. But on the evidence of this performance, especially in the second half, with some fine-tuning in defence, England look capable of making the latter stages at the very least. So all that said, let's see how this is going to pan on to the Ghana game today. Now, Ghana have scored more than one goal just once in the last 10 games and may look to deploy a defensive attitude against England. Should that be the case, this will be a very different test for England than the Croatia game. If Ghana do sit deep and leave no space in behind, will England have the passing accuracy and intricacy, easy for me to say, to find a way through them? And at the back, they will be given more time to play out from the back, that's England, although I would still expect Ghana to have noticed some of the difficulties England's had in doing so and deploy a selective press when the opportunity presents itself. So this may well be about England maintaining their concentration, staying patient and having the ability to find openings against a packed defence. Having won their first game against Panama, Ghana would be overjoyed with a draw here, so I fully expect them to go about this game with that in mind. In terms of possible team changes from the first game, as I've already said, I would like to see Mark Gahey come in at left centre-back and be partnered by either Stones or Konza. Declan Royce was subbed in the first game and, as I say, is managing a worrying injury. But I do expect him to play here. He may not be required to cover his usual amount of ground in this game, and delivery of corners could be important from him. And if the Ghanaians do sit deep, the trickery of Bukayo Saka could be a better option than Nodi Madueke's direct dribbling approach. If the Ghanaians are to sit deep, England needs to take the opportunity to get possibly both fullbacks, but certainly Maurice James into midfield positions, whereas delivery and accurate passing increase their options going forward. Morgan Rogers may be another good sub option to use his passing skills to open up the Ghanaians in the second half. And England have worked hard on their set pieces, which I think could be another option that pays off for them here. Taking all this into account, I think this will be a more workmanlike performance for England, but they still run out 2 or 3-0 winners for me. That would pretty much lock them in as Group L winners, and the path ahead will be against a third place team in the round of 32, then potentially the last 16 clash with Mexico at the Azteca, and then Brazil or Morocco in the quarterfinals. Now, Mexico at altitude at the Azteca is tough enough. They do not lose many games there, but the recovery from playing at altitude will be vital ahead of any possible quarterfinal. If England did get past those two games and things went to form, then it would be Argentina in the semis and France or Spain in the final. But that's all on a hypothetical that England can get that far and get games go to form. But that's how I see England's stage in this tournament at the moment, how they might fare in today's game. So I'll come back very soon with my normal Day 13 podcast looking at the other three games. But that's it for me for now. See you later.